Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Skratch. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm here to give you a fair warning. Save your ancient shards. I know your fingers are tingling. I know you wanna get that dopamine. Do not open any shards at all when we are talking about ancient shards. As expected, this weekend we will have a 2x event for ancient shards. Together, of course, with the champion chase tournament that will be related to the fusion. Now, on top of it, Plarium actually just released the news about all of the upcoming events for this weekend in terms of summoning events. We will have a 10x event on Harima, as you probably noticed on the thumbnail, guys. Now, Harima is an absolute insane champion, okay? And I know 10x events in general are not great, considering that we have like 1 billion champions. But you know what? You still have a much better chance at putting your hand on this beast of a champion, guys. So let me just quickly walk you through everything. This Friday, August 9th, we're planning to launch 2 events simultaneously. We're planning to launch a 2x event to summon epic and legendary champions from ancient shards. And also, we're planning to launch a 10x event to summon Harima from ancient shards. Personally, I'm at 66 ancient shards. I have no idea where my mercy is on ancients. Probably I'm pretty far off from the mercy. I'm not really dreaming of getting her, but I would love to get a second one. And overall, she's an insane champion. Not only for PvP, but for PvE content as well. I'm going to share with you guys my build in today's video. So the 10x event will only be on for 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And the 2x event will be on for 72 hours, you know. So if you don't want to summon by any chance during the 10x Harima, for whatever reason, then you can wait till Sunday to open your shards, guys. Ancient shards are definitely the bread and butter for champion chase tournaments because it's much easier to get points with them. At the same time, having a 2x together with the fusion is definitely much better. Harima counters the demon spawn champions like no other. Is all about the passive. Enemy ignore defense effects are decreased by 50%, even if they are bosses, guys. So if you are using Harima versus the Iron Twins Fortress, the boss won't hit as hard, or other bosses that ignore defense. On top of it, for PvP, she's very strong. She's one of the most used champions in Live Arena at the moment. It's true that for Classic Arena, especially Platinum Arena, she dropped a bit of value in offense and defense as well, but that doesn't mean that the champion is not strong anymore. And for Hydra Clan Boss, I've seen her doing like 600, 700 million damage on Nightmare. Unfortunately, I have some issues with my internet, guys. Discord just refuses to load my images, and I don't know, I've been having issues with the internet all day, so I cannot find a few screenshots for the Hydra Clan Boss to show you her performance in there, but it's absolutely insane. So it's definitely a champion that you kind of like want to add to your arsenal of champions, you know. Champions from the Demon Spawn factions cannot inflict critical hits on this champion, which is massive. She used to be a crazy good counter versus Mortu Macabre versus Candrophone. She counters Duchess really well as well. Plus, this champion cannot land weak hits on champions from the Demon Spawn faction, aka Duchess, or other spirit champions. With A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of decreasing the attack for 2 turns. Also has a chance to place a decreased attack on all enemies for 2 turns if this attack is critical, which is definitely very nice as a decreased attack champion too. Not everybody that gets this champion will be in the super endgame competing with the whales in PvP, so she will be very helpful in a lot of content. What is really nice about her, and she deals a lot of damage in the actual clan boss as well, if you have a high defense team or a team that will buff increased defense, is this skill right here. Purgative Punishment. This works very similar with Ninja's passive, with Val the Destroyer's passive, with Theox A2. I think Theox has the A2 very similar. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit decreases the target's defense by 5%, stacking up to 30%. Each hit also increases this champion's defense by 5%, stacking up to 100%. Instantly activates the Celestial Awe skill if this skill kills an enemy, which is the A3 that will actually land the provoke, but we're going to get to that in a second. So a lot of people don't really know how this skill actually works. If you guys are using this skill, for example, let me just quickly do the math. So each hit also increases this champion's defense by 5%, stacking up to 100. You have 3 hits in the skill. So when you're using this skill once, you're going to increase the defense by 15%. So you need to use this skill 6 or 7 times to basically increase the defense to 100%. Now, this is not something that's something easy to do in PvP, but if we are talking about Hydra or Clan Boss, it's very easy to do and basically double your defense. And this will work on every other skill afterwards. Once you've increased it to 100%, it's there to stay. It's not only when you're using the skill. Very important, because a lot of people seem to be confused with this skill on other champions as well. Plus, you're gonna decrease the target's defense up to 30%, which is very, very powerful, again, on bosses and on PvP as well. The A3, Celestial O, or however you're pronouncing that word, attacks all enemies. Good damage AoE, especially once you're increasing your defense. Places a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Now, you do need accuracy for this if you're not attacking champions from the Demon Spawn faction. The Demon Spawn faction champions cannot resist this, so you don't need accuracy for that. The problem is that she is a bit of a magnet to polymorph in PvP versus Duchess, Candrophone, etc. So overall, a very, very strong champion. We've seen the passive. The aura is resistance in arena by 80, which is very, very nice. Very good base stats. I wish she would have a bit of extra speed. Maybe like 5, 6, 7 more speed would definitely be really, really nice. Let me just quickly share the build that I have on my Harima, and I'm going to explain you how I'm using my Harima. So I do have her built fairly decent. One thing that I'm really waiting to get is basically her 6-star awakening. That will give me speed. Will allow this polymorph to be much, much better. I don't have a lot of accuracy on her, so unfortunately, it's not necessarily the best blessing to have on her at the very moment, unless you have 300 plus accuracy. Still is enough to counter champions like Wukong and stuff like this, and have a chance to proc polymorph on them, you know. I have mine built on a Savage set and a Stone Skin. Now, once I'm going to get a 6-star blessing, gaining the extra speed will be massive on the champion, because she will be much, much faster. Total stats on her at the moment, guys, I have 42k HP, 43k. To be honest, I would like more HP on her, so she doesn't get one shot by powerful champions, you know. She's a very good counter to Rotos, a very good counter to champions that ignore defense, a very good counter to Siegfried as well. Siegfried hits so freaking hard, and being able to block 50% of the ignore defense from that champion is going to be massive. We have 7.9k defense, which is not bad. I would definitely like to have a bit more than that. I feel like I still need to work on some of the Ascension, but we're going to check that in just a second. You kind of like want to aim for as much defense as possible. Decent speed, good crit rate. HP, prioritize it after, because at the end of the day, she is a damage dealer. The damage is based on defense. So we have 249 speed, 101 crit rate, 307 crit damage. I'm happy with the amount of crit damage that we have on her, considering that she's not empowered. Of course, the more, the better. But hey, not everything is perfect, so we're going to have to make it work with what we have available. Anything over 240, 250 crit damage is going to be a sweet spot, especially if you cannot build champions as good as this, you know. Aim for 6k plus defense, 240 plus crit damage will get the job done. And then if you are using her in the Hydra Clan Boss, you will require to have a bit of more accuracy based on what difficulty you guys are running with her. You know, if you're going for Nightmare, you're going to need around 330 accuracy just to land the provoke and the decrease attack. The Head of Suffering most probably will resist you with that amount of accuracy. But as it is, it looks pretty good. So if I'm going to bring in the Hydra battle stats, for example, she does look much better. I only have to give her a little bit of more accuracy. So I'll be ready to basically have her as a provoker in my Hydra Clan Boss team and as a damage dealer. You know, that will be very, very important. Now, one of the cons with the A2 is that when you decapitate a head, that doesn't count as a kill. When you kill a ship, when you're breaking a polymorph, that doesn't count as a kill, so you're not going to actually activate the A3, you know, so that's very important to kind of like be aware of. Masteries, we have offense and defense. I could run support for PvE, but for PvP, it's definitely not a necessity. I would rather have the retribution to have the counterattack, have a bit of more defense from a tough skin, have blast proof, have of course resurgent. Hand Smasher, regardless if you are doing PvE or PvP, you will require to have this on to kind of like increase your damage. It doesn't matter what sort of content you're doing. Hammer Smasher is the way. And if you have Cycle of Violence, very, very nice. I do have Shield Breaker, just because a lot of enemies will have shield, or they will buff with shield in arena, you know. And Ruthless Ambush, to be honest with you guys, is not very important. Everybody runs Stone Skin and other things like that, reaction. I would probably have to change the Masteries on her and get Life Drinker over Ruthless Ambush, because Ruthless Ambush is absolutely irrelevant at the moment, you know. With the current meta, it's just very ineffective. In terms of a blessing, if you guys are for example, running a 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, 4-star, 5-star blessing, and you don't have accuracy, and you just want to increase the damage on her, you can always go for Nature's Wrath. This is not necessarily the best for PvP, because you do need to land the debuffs in order to increase the value of it. If no, Haven Cast is a decent option. This will, of course, allow you to deal additional damage based on how many buffs you have on the champion, and you will require increased defense at least to really make the most out of her. But this is my Harima. This is kind of like the weapon that I have on her. I'm quickly checking if I need any more Ascension or some better pieces. Yeah, so we can change the HP right here for defense. That will give us 80 more defense. This is pretty good. Maybe a few more glyphs will definitely help us quite a bit. This one right here, I have a feeling that I might have one available. Max! No! Max! No! No! We haven't got it. Okay. I supposed to try it here. Maybe we were going to be more lucky with this one. So, basically, that's why you want to aim on the substats. Crit rate, speed, defense, you know. This chest piece is actually pretty nice because we have accuracy too. Boots are pretty good. So the reason why I haven't re-rolled the boots to get more speed on her is because I'm waiting for the 6-star awakening. That will give me the speed that I need. And having her at like 270 speed, once I'm going to glyph her a bit more, is definitely more than enough. The ring is a beauty. I managed to get super lucky with this one. It's not even re-rolled with a Chaos Ore. Triple defense. I do need a better amulet. 6-star preferably, of course, to kind of like gain 9% more crit damage from there. And the banner is actually spot on. So basically the awakening is decent. I don't really have to change much on her. Mainly I just need to put more glyphs into the champion to kind of like make the most out of Harima. Now, when you are using Harima, guys, if you don't have Sifi, if you don't have Alice, which are both very good champions to use with her because they buff increased defense, champions that were more accessible to the player base, Helicat. Now, them two together, they are absolutely cancer in live arena. Probably you guys noticed it. You've seen them in action. He will buffer with increased defense with this skill right here, and that will be very helpful for her damage. The block damage onto having that 50% ignore defense damage reduction from her passive will really make this team super tanky and very hard to kill unless you lock their skills or you're removing the buffs, etc. You know, another champion that is free and very, very solid to use with her is actually Mitrala. I do have to be honest, I haven't used Mitrala in Arena in a very long time. For a while, I used her quite a bit, but she does bring a lot of good things to the table. And if you are in the lower tiers of Arena, you're definitely going to gain a lot of value with Mitrala Lifebane. So that's what we have in terms of summoning events for this weekend. We do have the guaranteed right now on Inquisitor Shamael. Some of you guys are excited that don't have him. A lot of you guys are not excited because, again, he's another epic champion. Yes, I wish they would make a guaranteed on freaking Harima. I wish they would make a guaranteed on an awesome legendary champion. It's been a while since we had one, especially from Voids, not to mention Sacreds. So hopefully it will happen in the near future. Do expect to have a Deck of Fate, not Deck of Fate, a Path of Light event next week or the week after once the fusion is going to be done. Most probably it's going to be next week. But that was all for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you are trying to get a Harima or no. As usual, much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.